Hello, and welcome to another vlog. This week's theme is diabetes, but first I have some exciting news. I'm going to Hal-Con, which is basically Halifax's version of Comic-Con. Now, for those of you who don't know what Comic-Con is, it's an event for people who are really into pop culture, specifically things like movies, TV shows, and comic books. Now, they hold Hal-Con every year, but this is my first time going, and I'm really excited about it. Because not only is it a chance for me to meet people who have similar interests as I do and to nerd out a little, it can also be a great opportunity to meet some celebrities and to buy some cool stuff. So I'm really looking forward to it. Now, I feel like I should point out that I'm not going as a delegate, I'm just going to have a good time. And don't ask me what my costume's going to be because I don't have that figured out yet. Anyway, I bought my ticket for the event probably about 3 or 4 months ago. And when I did, I had a few accessibility concerns, which I emailed the organizers about. And I was really pleased with their response. Not only did they get back to me very quickly, within about half an hour, on a Sunday, I might add, they also did a very good job of answering all of the questions that I had in a timely manner, and they sent me all of the information and all of the materials that I needed to address those concerns. So I was very pleased about that, and right off the bat, it was a great first impression for my first time buying tickets for this event. Now, on Sunday, they sent out an email to all of the ticket holders outlining the logistics of the event. They talked a little bit about like registration and location and things like that. But there was also a section that focused specifically on accessibility. Now, because this is a series in which I talk a lot about accessibility and disabilities, I figured this was something worth discussing a little bit in today's vlog. So, it sounds like they're really taking accessibility seriously. And as someone who himself is an accessibility advocate for people with all types of disabilities, this is really important to me and really makes me happy. So the event is being held at the new Halifax Convention Center, which was just recently built, and it's fully accessible. It has elevators and accessible washrooms on every floor, and I'm sure the building itself is fully wheelchair accessible in other ways as well. In addition, they're going to have two booths set up with people whose job it is to deal with whatever accessibility issues visitors might have. Um, so that's really good that they're going to have people there available in case someone has needs help or requires something related to accessibility. Um, as I mentioned in some of my previous videos, that's a big part of accessibility. And of course, they're also going to have interpreters available for people who are deaf or hard of hearing. So like I said, it sounds like they're taking accessibility very seriously, and I'm very optimistic about the event. Now, of course, there's always room for improvement, but just the fact that they're taking accessibility that seriously is really promising for me. So now I want to switch gears a little bit and talk about this week's topic, which is, like I said, diabetes. Now, specifically, I want to talk about the different types of diabetes. Diabetes is basically a condition in which the body either is unable to produce insulin or it can't use the insulin that it does produce. And there's two main types of diabetes. There's type 1 diabetes and there's type 2 diabetes. Now, type 1 diabetes occurs when the immune system attacks the pancreas and kills the beta cells, which are responsible for producing insulin. So that stops the production of insulin. And for this reason, it's considered an autoimmune disorder. Basically, that's a disorder in which the immune system attacks a part of the body. Because obviously that's not supposed to happen. Now, type 1 diabetes primarily develops during childhood or adolescence, but it can develop during adulthood. Of course, it's a lot more rare, but it does sometimes happen. Um, and it's not very common. It only affects about 10% of individuals. Now, unfortunately, they don't really know what the cause of type 1 diabetes is, and it's unpreventable at this point in time. Then there's type 2 diabetes. Now, type 2 diabetes is a lot more common than type 1 diabetes. It occurs when either the body develops an insensitivity to insulin, known as a insulin insensitivity, or just stops producing enough insulin or doesn't produce a very useful version of insulin. And so that makes it a lot more difficult for the body to regulate blood glucose levels, which can lead to high blood pressure, which is very serious because it can cause some pretty serious health complications. Now, like I said, type 2 diabetes is a lot more common. It usually develops in adulthood and it affects about 90% of individuals, making it the most common form of diabetes. And unlike type 1 diabetes, the cause of type 2 diabetes is well understood and it is often preventable. Now, obviously, not every case of type 2 diabetes is preventable, but a large portion of them are. And there's a lot of things that you can do to reduce your risk of developing type 2 diabetes and eliminating some of the risk factors that you might be living with. And then there's one more type of diabetes. It's called gestational diabetes, which isn't quite as common as type 1 or type 2, but as the name suggests, it occurs during pregnancy, and it specifically affects about 20 to 30% of pregnant women. Now, fortunately, gestational diabetes usually goes away shortly after the baby is born, but it can be a risk factor for developing type 2 diabetes. So that's just a brief overview of the different types of diabetes. On Thursday, I'm going to be releasing a video in which I talk in more detail about what diabetes is, what the symptoms are, and how it's managed. So subscribe if you want to see that video. And don't forget to follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And of course, if you enjoyed today's vlog and you want to see more videos like this one, then please support me on Patreon. Anyway, thanks for watching and see you on Thursday.